Students resume classes at UPNG. Police Commissioner challenges police personnel. Mount Hagen Eagles banned for 3 years.
This is NBC Papua New Guinea National News.
Good evening, I'm Antonia Singud. Classes at the University of Papua New Guinea resumed today after the reconciliation ceremony last Friday. Normal teaching and learning activities will continue till March next year to complete the 2016 academic year. Esther Bralinwani reports.
A total of 5,000 plus students are expected to be in classes at the University of Papua New Guinea. Today, a good number of students turned up to kick off the 2016 academic year. Students have begun attending classes and continue the registration process. While learning activities are resuming, some students are concerned it will be a burden to guardians and parents to meet the cost of tuition fees.
But I'm alright, long.
Meanwhile, security at the campus has been beefed up to ensure normal resumption of classes. Esther Bralinwani, NBC National News, Port Moresby.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has welcomed the unanimous decision by the Supreme Court to declare the unconstitutional move by the Ombudsman Commission to refer him to under the Leadership Code. Mr. O'Neill said the Supreme Court decision provided clarity on important constitutional questions which had been referred to it by the Attorney General and 2 National Court judges. He said he was completely confident that the decision by the NEC in relation to the borrowing of funds to facilitate the state taking equity in oil search was not illegal, unconstitutional or in any way contrary to the national interest. Special sacrifices have to be made while taking up a life in the Special Services Division, or widely referred to as the Mobile Squad of the PNG Royal Constabulary. Police Commissioner Gary Baki told more than 60 officers who have successfully graduated from training. The addition of the number of personnel to the force is to boost the country towards future meetings like the Asia Pacific Economic Conference meeting in 2018. Bradley Gregory reports.
Over 60 police personnel have joined the FIR's Special Services Division or the Mobile Squad. But it's not about the fierce nature of the division Police Commissioner Gary Baki is dwelling on. It's about the primary reasons on which the unit was set up. A unit that has special police tactical training but still with the basic police principles.
No can abuse him uniform block police and don't abuse this Special Services Division uniform. It is not for you to wear and get drunk. It is not for you to wear and run around chasing people and on the streets, Paitimol, Mary, Salimol, Buayo, or something or road, Nogat. And Pride Blood Division.
Commissioner Baki is the only commissioner so far that has come out of the Mobile Squad, and he knows the demands and challenges required. Some may be personal, marriage will have to wait.
You remain single so that you perform your job. When your squad commander wants you to move, you move. You don't have to look behind the back. When some of these young mobile squad of policemen are here, you ask them. Some of them, we have to impose a ban on them for 5-6 years, I think 6 years, not to get married. I was the director of special services here, and I made sure it didn't happen. Some of them are now doing catch-up marriage, all bikini blood will come up behind. And they appreciate the fact that the difficulty we have, and at the same time, they demand a walk long all. Also mobile squad. It's like kind blue you me long. All you to talk little move, now you find him excuse blow, give him, has to finish. You are entering a domain that is a little bit different from the regular members of the constabulary.
30 police members of the force will be posted to the Airborne Tactical Unit, while the balance will serve in other parts of PNG. This is a further boost to the police manpower before the all-important international events come to the shores of PNG. Bradley Gregory, NBC National News, Port Moresby.
Opposition leader Don Pollier has described the termination of student leaders at the University of Papua New Guinea as unfair, unjust and a bad decision. Mr. Poilier says the reasons the University Council gave to justify the termination were shallow, adding the justifications are subject to current investigations. He has called on the Council to rescind its decision pending the outcome of the investigation. He says the Council has abused its powers when terminating the students. The University of Papua New Guinea has come up with measures to control expenditure on food items. Among measures is to have proper identification of residential students. Esther Bralinwani reports.
Residential students at the University of Papua New Guinea will now be using their fingerprints to enter the mess. This system will be in use beginning of this academic year to control the students using the mess. In the past, non-residential and external students have entered the university mess because of no proper system in place. This was described as unfair to the residential students who have paid 3 times the fees for the boarding and lodging. With the new system, it is aimed at addressing this. A total of 1,800 residential students are expected to be using the school mess as a requirement from the student services once students are registered.
I'm looking at is about 1,800, but I have come across 1,013, so there's more, 800 more to catch up. Yeah. So I'm still waiting for students to come in and register their names for the mess, to screen the students and eliminate some of those illegal entry.
It is also a bonus for the university to spend on budget according to the target. UPNG catering service provider, the National Catering Service staff are already at work providing meals for the students on campus. Esther Bralinwani, NBC National News, Port Moresby.
Turning overseas, London is marking the 350th anniversary of the Great Fire in 1666. And to commemorate the occasion, London has set alight once again, not the city, but a 120-metre floating model on the Thames.
A calamitous inferno. The Great Fire of London raged across England's biggest city, turning its buildings into smoke. Today, given the wealth, power and influence here, it's almost impossible to imagine that this once was reduced to a burning pile of buildings. Marking the spot, the monument, placed metres away from where the fire began. Today, an ordinary office building stands here, but at the time it was the site of the Royal Bakery. The baker himself blamed for failing to put out the ovens which sparked off the blaze. But London rose again. The year before, it had survived a deadly plague. Out of the ashes also emerged new urban planning methods, even the beginnings of the insurance industry. The Great Fire of London may now be consigned to the history books and even the nursery rhymes, but at the time it was a disaster of unprecedented proportions. The city, which you see behind me, was reduced to burnt tinder, and 100,000 Londoners, which was roughly a fifth of the city's population at the time, had been left homeless. It created a housing crisis on a scale which London had never experienced before. The determination to overcome the catastrophe is being commemorated in a series of art installations around the city, a testament to people's will to survive.
There were only 6 deaths recorded and 80,000 people homeless, but then they really had to start again. There was no trade, there was no economy left. And in the end, cities aren't about buildings and streets and rivers. They're about the people who inhabit those places.
And on the River Thames, the 120-metre-long sculpture of 17th century London set alight, a monument to the disaster and a tribute to the people who made the city what it was, what it is now, in all its diversity.
Coming up after the break, Moresby North East MP supports Wildlife Settlers Initiative, and Australia's Prime Minister uses G20 to discuss trade and security with European settlers. Stay with us on NBC National News.